welcome back to Japan, where I'm going to be reviewing a little bit more of Yanakoto Sotto Mute with the song Lily. And if you want to see the reaction that I've just done, pause this video, click the little link in the description below, and you can watch the song along with me first of all. So, are you ready for the review? Have you seen the reaction? I didn't warn you. Here comes the review. Spoilers ahead. Alright, let's check this out. So, basically, this song was really interesting because it achieved a lot of, like I say, it's had more views than a lot of other Yanakoto Sotto Mute. I'm just going to call them YSM. A lot of other YSM songs that are available online I could see, because I was looking for some more of their songs to check out. And this was not the most highly viewed of theirs, but it was certainly amongst those, it was amongst the higher figures. I think it was like 250,000 views for this, which is quite impressive considering, like I said, I do think they're quite underappreciated. I mean, obviously style's a big factor of how successful you are in a contemporary music market, but I really like what they do, and I think it's got a real catchy quality. I'd be surprised if just more people hearing this wouldn't really boost their popularity. This one sort of factored in a very interesting place, though, in the overall repertoire. Fancy French words in their overall repertoire. I went more English to say a French word. Interesting. So what I kind of got from this was a sense that it achieved what you would expect from a YSM song, in that it had really interesting, catchy vocals. It had some moments of real clear. You could see the mixture of maybe the singers and the producer. I don't know who was more responsible for it, but some interesting moments where the vocals did some nice layering. There was a nice little bit where her intonation as she fell off the end of one of the notes was really nicely handled. There was a lot of feeling in the vocals. It was not their most interesting melody to date, but it was a good one. It was one that, you could really, it's in my head right now, so it really did a good job. The backing did an interesting thing as well. And I kind of I mentioned this a little bit at the time, but just to break that down a little bit more, it flicked between a sound that was very much the stereotype of current Japanese, I guess you could say, indie, soft rock kind of music, that sort of middle of the road MOR sound, which is a sort of twinkly, very low distortion electric guitars. And that's a very popular thing that, as I mentioned before, was kind of predicated on a lot of previous artists, but of modern days we think of bands kind of like maybe Asian Kung Fu generation, certainly bands like Rab Wimps, Bump of Chicken, for doing those kind of sparkly sounding songs with the guitars. It's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all, but it's one that I think there is a bit of an oversaturation of in a lot of Japanese music. I hear that guitar sound quite a lot, and this is a somewhat hypocritical coming from me, someone who's along with you guys guiding me, listen to every single Band-Maid song and quite a lot of hard rock songs. But I do often say, with all honesty, that I think that often if you listen to too much hard rock, loud guitar, that can get quite tiring as well. I think anything of any guitar sound done too much can get tiring. I like to hear a sort of diversity in the sounds of the music. This was one though that, it felt a little bit like that, but then it went in an interesting direction, because when it built up towards the chorus, it went much harder. You got a proper like hard rock feel, and it really kind of much more distorted, thicker, more compressed, but also boosted gain on the guitar. The sound went up. It felt like they were. And I suddenly noticed at that point that that's something that you tend to miss in both of these styles. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist totally, but I'm saying it's not done enough, is that in these songs with the more twinkly style guitars, you rarely hear them then suddenly go loud and distorted for the chorus, or to accent a bit. And often in these harder rock songs, you rarely hear them turn the distortion right down for another part. Sometimes they'll use effects and things, don't get me wrong, but it will usually be hard for most of the song if it's that hard at all. So there was a nice way that they balanced that out. So any personal fatigue I have towards any particular guitar sound was somewhat maybe just me. I think they handled the mixture difference in guitar sounds quite well in this. The song, however, was based on a slightly more obvious juxtaposition. Again, this is not the first time I've heard this with them, but probably the most pronounced example of that. Sorry, I'm disappearing off the bottom of the frame. Most pronounced example of that was a sort of juxtaposition between having a melody that sounds sort of sweet and relaxed, and wasn't for the best part was sung in a fairly restrained manner, and it felt almost like a bit of a, I don't know if it would say a ballad, but kind of a sad song or a wistful song, or a song that's not sort of punching you in the face. And the backing, although not always heavy, in the choruses at least was really energetic. And then in the bridge, you could tell they were going for a lot of punch, because that was even shown with the way that they were dancing. Although they were dancing, obviously you can't hear on the song, but you could see that's kind of what they were trying to accent in the bridge of the song. So that for me basically worked. It was interesting. It gave the song a bit of identity, and it didn't ever feel like the two things were fighting against each other. But I think the problem is, I mean, like I say, it gave it an identity in a writing sense, but it did also leave it not quite feeling like it had the power of, I mean, like I say, it worked, but in another way, it didn't manage to particularly capitalize on either of the things. It didn't feel like it had the full emotional impact that you could either get from, sort of building everything up in the choruses or having everything remain mellow throughout. So, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I like that variation, but at both points, in the quiet bit, it didn't feel totally quiet. In loud bits, it didn't feel totally loud, because the vocal was kept in a fairly mid-range throughout. Nicely delivered, but it's very hard to explain, but I felt like this had a lot of things. None of them were working against each other, but it didn't seem to capitalize at any point in the song. Just to sort of clarify again, like I say, I'm more than happy. In fact, I like songs that have multiple sounds throughout, but I mean, that's where you like the song to go sort of more in one direction, a bit heavier at one point or a bit quieter at one point. This kind of felt like it was just all the way through mixing two things at the same time. So once again, just to reiterate, that felt like it basically wasn't a bad thing, but it also didn't lead to the song having a particular clear emotional identity. The video seemed to really be sort of trying to demonstrate more what it was about, and so maybe I should go and translate the lyrics and have a little look at them to properly confirm that. Because there's a lot of symbolism with the flowers and everything as well. So this song I liked, but certainly of the YSM catalogue I've heard thus far, it's probably the one that least stands out, which is not too bad, as it's the fifth song I've heard. I can certainly take one not being as good as the others. Maybe with more repeat listens or a better understanding, I'll get more into this one. But this comes under that category that I sometimes mention. I could definitely sit down and listen to this song and enjoy this song. However, if it was not something that just came on the radio, or not just, who listens to radio now? Not something that just came on like a Spotify playlist or just a playlist of some kind. I just started doing branding. I'm not sponsored, I swear. Definitely not by Spotify. I don't even pay a subscription. It was one of those ones. If it came on just randomly, I'd be happy to listen to it. I'd actually genuinely enjoy it. It was an enjoyable song that I liked. However, like I said, it's in that category where it doesn't stand out as being particularly memorable. Like some songs like Any's really memorable, really gets stuck in your head. And it's got an identity that feels more clear to recall. So it's something you're more likely to go, yeah, I really want to listen to Any by YSM. Whereas this song, it'd be one where you go, how did that go again? Oh yeah, that was all right. Yeah, let's put that on. It's that difference in how much it stirs up a feeling as a listener for me. But as always, music's subjective. So you tell me what you think in the comments. Looking forward to that. Remember, you can like and subscribe as well. And if you want to get involved with more of our social media where we're bantering about Japanese music all the time, links are also in the description below. And actually, while I'm at it, a big thank you, as always, to our Patreon supporters who do keep this channel alive. Let's be honest, you guys are awesome. So anyway, thank you to you as well for getting through to the end of the video and listening to me ramble. I'm looking forward to seeing you hopefully soon on the next video. But for now, from Japan, ciao, ciao.